It's nice to see daylight past 6 p.m.
Hey, Phil, you on here? I don't think he's on yet.
I think he's upstairs getting the meeting ready for TV.
Hi, Denise.
Hi.
Hey, before we get started, I get to brag a little bit, okay? This, I don't think you can probably see it very well, but this is my granddaughter. She is a state qualifier in swimming. She's a sophomore, and she's the only swimmer from Solon High School that qualified for state.
That's awesome.
On Friday, she swims
Great.
on Friday, she swims at Canton Natatorium, and you're only allowed one person to go. So only her dad's going to get to go. So we're pretty proud. And Dunkin' Donuts in Solon put out, there's her and 5 or 4 divers from the school that are actually qualified. She's the only swimmer. Dunkin' Donuts in Solon this week has honorary Grace Perlberg donuts this week. So guess where Grandma and Grandpa are driving to on Friday?
Get some donuts.
To buy some donuts. So, so we're pretty proud of her.
That's awesome,
Kim.
She has worked very hard to get there. So we're very excited for her.
See, Elliot, there's a use for swimming pools.
The girl can bench press 250.
Wow.
Sophomore in high school.
She could probably help out our O-line.
Beat me to it, Maddie.
All right. Well, we are live. Phil's back. So are we all set there, Phil?
Both on YouTube and local access.
Okay. We're on both live. So I'd like to call to order the Minerva Village Council regular council meeting, 4th council meeting, February 23rd, 2021. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the Lord's Prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and glory forever. Amen. Thank you, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody this evening. Let the minutes show that all members of council are present. We have a couple guests on with us tonight, so we're going to go to them right off from the beginning. So first, we have Denise from the chamber. Denise? You're on.
I'm sorry, my connection is very good. Hey, at the Roxy, last Saturday we showed The King and I, and we had 10 people there. The private movie rentals are very, very popular. We've done 3 so far, and we've got 12 more scheduled between now and the beginning of April. We're for a live stream Celtic show from the theater on March 27th. And we have the right to do a live stream play May 14th and 15th It's called Five Women Wearing the Same Dress. Anything about that?
Yeah, so we were trying to find something that was a small cast, one set. And I just stumbled on this. So anyway, it's five women wearing the same dress. It's all about bridesmaids. They're avoiding the reception. And they're completely different walks of life. And they all come to the realization they actually don't like the bride. It's sort of like Bridesmaids. So it's a comedy for sure. Interesting topics. So figure why not? Let's try something nobody's really sure on. See how it goes. So we got pretty much the entire cast set already. I think we're going to try to have a read through and next week and try to get everyone's measurements so we can order their hideous bridesmaids gowns. So, but that's about it.
Okay. We've been working on figuring out what we're going to do, the donation that we got for the theater. We've already purchased some cabinets for the concessions area, a whiteboard, some eye lighting, some shelving, and some store, organizational type of equipment. And as always, we at the theater, Bob Harris and Dave Keister are working on trying to come up with a solution to drain marquee, which isn't draining like it should. But now they have to wait for everything to thaw out before they can work on it further. We're going to be having some work done on the letters, the Roxy letters on the marquee, and we have just learned that we need to start to be ready to replace our digital sign whenever that is necessary. It's 9 years old and apparent life expectancy is 10 years. Our guy who works on the sign most of the time said he thinks we've probably got 3 to 5 more years on it, but we need to start sending funds towards that. We are going to have a virtual State of the Village sort of a luncheon. It'll be at lunchtime. We usually do that at Great Trail Golf Course, but of course we can't do that this year. So we're going to do it, and it'll be March 3rd. And Phil is going to speak, and Tim and Gary Chaddock and Phil Rittenhouse will speak on behalf of the Ministerial Association. I'm still trying to pull together a virtual. Tim, it does look like Unhitched is going to be able to work with us. I've been in touch with them, and they have enough beer in cans that they can do it and interested in doing it. So I think we're probably looking at like the beginning of April for that, I'm hoping. And Matt's going to work with us on the food for that. So that one's going to be open to the public. So watch for more information on that. And I have been working on trying to put some plans in place for Art Jazz Week. We're not going to try to do the festival this year, but I'm looking at early June, and we're planning to do a drive and craft. Some of the Art Spot artists are willing to work with us. We're going to do some live stream artist demonstrations. I'll just go to their studios and we'll live stream. We're going to provide a take-home craft kit for kids. I'm thinking about doing a Lego creation contest. Probably, people just submit photos. Probably put those on Facebook for people to vote on them. I'm looking at doing a Chalk the Walk event at various locations throughout the village. I'm thinking that if we spread it out, we won't have too many people at any one location, hoping for a combination of professional and amateur artists. And then we're looking at doing possibly some live stream jazz performances from the Roxy, but I've got to figure out copyright issues. And Phil and I are working with Rafael Rodriguez from Stark Economic Development Board. He's trying to make manufacturers to do business retention and expansion visits. And he and I met at KMI today, And Raphael's coming back tomorrow. He's going to meet with Jim Hull at Summit Glove and Andy McConrad at Sandy Springs. So that's all I have, unless anybody has questions for me.
Anybody have anything else for Denise? If not, thank you, Denise. Keep doing what you're doing. So,
Thanks.
Chief, are you leaving? Or did he already leave? Fire whistle's blowing, so he probably left. So, all right. We'll see if he makes it back or not. That's all the guests we have tonight. Let's move into the other items. Motion is in order to approve the minutes of the third regular council meeting held February 9th, 2021.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Arbit,
Yay.
Meadows,
Yay.
Oldazar,
Yay.
Kishman,
Yay.
Hannon.
Yeah.
Motion so approved. That's the only thing there under consensus tonight. We're going to turn it over to Phil, the administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things tonight. We have the engineers working on the plans to do both the interior and exterior of the two water towers. A publication will be going out this week. You can also find it on our website, Facebook. We're trying to get the word out as much as possible. We will be hiring lifeguards for the pool this year and an employee or a summer help for the park/street department. As we spoke in workshop, we would like to do village-wide garage sales. I will check with JT's actually already checked with them, our iWork software to make sure that we'll be able to take permits over the internet through that software. And then I don't see any issues with doing the garage sales. We'll make sure that everyone has the checklist from the state about safe guidelines, how to, social distancing, masks, cleaning, this, that, one-way directions at the yard sale, that of the such. And then there will also be a motion tonight about the bulk pickup. We've done that every year after the yard sales. And I just want to take a second to thank JT, the water department, the park department, and all the guys. There's been 2 water leaks over the past week, and the guys have really done an amazing job on those. And I want to thank them, especially with the temperatures that we had over the end of last week. They were out till midnight and it was not warm one bit. So thank you all.
That it, Phil?
And yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Turn it over to JT, Service Director.
Thank you, Mayor. In the street department, they were called out for road conditions on the 10th, 11th, 18th. During the ice storm, the last ice event, we used 122 ton of salt. So far for the season, we've used 1,020 tons. So we're above our minimum order with Cargill. In the water department, we're still locating assets for the GIS mapping. We had the 8-inch ductile iron pipe main break on February 17th. It was cracked lengthwise about 90 inches. And we had to completely remove that section and replace it. On the 21st, we had a 10-inch main break on West Plain at Liberty. We're assisted by the street and the park departments. And wastewater, the Minerva Dairy was issued surcharges for 1 violation in December and 9 violations in January. The 9 violations in January occurred over a 5-day period. And John Van Domelen from the Ohio EPA Compliance Assistant Unit, he stopped by yesterday. He's going to analyze our biomass and make any recommendations, but I'm thinking we're in pretty good shape right now. Cemetery, we've had 7 burials to date. Just a reminder, the ODOT virtual Route 30 meeting is scheduled for February 25th at 5:30 p.m. In the swimming pool, we've got 6 returning employees, so we did advertise for additional employees. I am waiting to hear back from a plumber about getting a quote for the food service issues. In zoning, we haven't had any new nuisance or permit cases. We had 2 nuisance cases that's been resolved by compliance. And that's all I have, Mayor, unless you have any questions.
Any question for JT at this time? Anybody?
For that virtual meeting, is there going to be a link sent out? Phil, do you
Yep.
know?
That was sent out in my last packet. If you don't
Okay.
have that, just shoot me an email and I can resend it to you.
I think I still have that.
That email was sent out by Loris Phillips too from the Department of Transportation on January the 5th, about 3:30 in the afternoon. It's got that
Okay.
info too.
I have it.
Anybody else? Anything else for JT at this time?
Hey, I just want to also say, jumping back on JT on that, I want to thank the street guys for all the work they've been doing with the plowing. They did a fantastic job. I don't want to leave them out of that. So thank you.
Yeah, we got a lot of good positive comments. Things were being set out on Facebook, kind of nice. So it's kind of nice to see that. They did a good job. Clark, do you have anything? You're muted.
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I don't have anything at this time, so we'll go ahead and go into old and new business. Motion is in order to have first reading of ordinance number 1121. Approval and granting consent to the Director of Ohio Department of Transportation Authority to apply, maintain, and repair standard longitudinal pavement markings and erect regulatory and warning signs on state highways inside the village corporation limits, and giving consent of the village for the Ohio Department of Transportation to remove snow and ice and use snow and ice control material on state highways inside the village corporation limits, and giving consent of the village for the Ohio Department of Transportation to perform maintenance and or repair on state highways inside the village corporation and declaring it an emergency. This will be a motion for first reading.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion. Phil, you want to give us a little highlight on what we're talking about here so the public knows what's going on?
Absolutely. This may sound familiar to a lot of you. In December, we passed one of these for Carroll County. This is just a subsequent Stark County agreement that they will maintain the roads, replace signs, do the maintenance that is on the state routes within the village.
Just something we have to do so often, right? So that
That
they
is
have
correct.
record that we're okay with it.
That is correct.
Okay. Roll call.
Meadows,
Yay.
Hannon,
Yeah.
Boldazar,
Yay.
Kishman,
Yay.
Tarbit.
Yay. Clark.
I'll not reread the 3-paragraph title since the mayor has already read it. Whereas the Director of Transportation under Section 5521.01 of the Revised Code of Ohio is authorized upon request and approval of the legislative authority of the village to maintain, repair, and apply standard longitudinal pavement marking lines and to erect regulatory and warning signs as defined in the manual adopted under Section 4511.09 of the Revised Code on any section of state highways within the corporate limits of a village. And whereas the Director of Transportation under Section 5501.41 Revised Code of Ohio may, upon consent of the legislative authority of the village, remove snow and ice and use snow and ice control material on state highways within the corporate limits of a village pursuant to a written agreement to be entered into between the village and the Department of Transportation of the state of Ohio. And whereas the Director of Transportation under section 5511.01 of the revised Code of Ohio may, upon the consent of the legislative authority of the village, perform maintenance and or repair on the state highways within the corporate limits of the village pursuant to a written agreement to be entered into between the village and the Department of Transportation of the state of Ohio. And whereas state highway numbers SR 183 and US 30 lie within the village of Minerva, Carroll, Stark, and Columbiana counties, Ohio. Whereas the work proposed to be authorized under this ordinance shall be restricted to the application, maintenance, and repair of standard longitudinal pavement markings and the erecting of regulatory and warning signs, and may include, if an agreement is entered into, the removal of snow and ice and the use of snow and ice control material on state highways within the corporate limits of the village, but shall not include the removal of snow and ice and the use of snow and ice control material on driveways, parking areas, and intersecting roads and streets, and may include, if an agreement is entered into, the maintenance and or repair of the state highways within the corporate limits of the village. And whereas this ordinance shall not relieve or discharge the village from responsibility for emergency repair of signs installed by the Department of Transportation. And whereas this ordinance shall not relieve or discharge the village from any claim or claims of any nature arising from or growing out of the work by the Department of Transportation of the state of Ohio on said highways in the village, and the village shall save the state of Ohio harmless from any and all such claims. And whereas this ordinance is not intended to and shall not supersede any section of the Ohio Revised Code pertaining to the responsibilities of the village and the Department of Transportation regarding any other maintenance and repair. Now therefore be ordained by the council of the village of Minerva, Stark, Carroll, and Columbiana counties, Ohio as follows. Section 1, it is hereby declared to be in the public interest that the consent of the said village be, and such consent is hereby given to the Department of Transportation of the state of Ohio for said department to apply standard longitudinal pavement markings and to erect regulatory and warning signs on said state highways in accordance with standard practices of the Ohio Department of Transportation. Section 2, it is hereby declared to be in the public interest that the consent of said village be, and such said consent is hereby given to the Department of Transportation of the state of Ohio if an agreement is entered into for said department to remove snow and ice and use snow and ice control material on any state highways listed in the agreement in accordance with the standard practices of the Ohio Department of Transportation. Section 3, it is hereby declared to be in the public interest that the consent of said village be, and such consent is hereby given to the Department of Transportation of the state of Ohio if an agreement is entered into for said department to perform certain maintenance and or repair on any state highways listed in the agreement in accordance with standard practices of the Ohio Department of Transportation. Section 4, that the village administrator is authorized to enter into any agreement with ODOT for the removal of snow and ice and the use of snow and ice control materials on said state highways within the corporate limits of the village, and any agreement with ODOT for certain maintenance and or repair of the state highways within the corporate limits of the village. Section 5, that the clerk of council is hereby directed to furnish the director of transportation and the boards of commissioners of Carroll, Stark, and Columbiana counties, Ohio, with a certified copy of this ordinance immediately upon execution. Section 6, this ordinance is declared an emergency measure necessary to the immediate preservation of the public health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the village of Minerva, Ohio, to expedite approval of the consent to permit snow and ice removal from and maintenance and repair to State Route 183 and US 30 in the village during this winter season of inclement weather, and shall take effect and be enforced at the earliest date allowed by law.
Thank you, clerk. Motion in order, approve first reading.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion second, roll call.
Meadows,
Yay.
Hannon,
Yay.
Boldazar,
Yay.
Kishman,
Yay.
Tarbit.
Yay. First reading so approved. Since this is declared an emergency measure, motion is in order to suspend statutory rules and have second and third reading by title only and for passage.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Meadows,
Yay.
Hannon,
Yeah.
Boldazar,
Yay.
Kishman,
Yay.
Tarbit.
Yay. Clark?
Ordinance number 11-21, approval and granting consent to the Director of the Ohio Department of Transportation authority to apply, maintain, and repair standard longitudinal pavement markings and erect regulatory and warning signs on state highways inside village corporate limits, and giving consent of the village for the Ohio Department of Transportation to remove snow and ice and use snow and ice control material on state highways inside the village corporate limits, and giving consent of the village for the Ohio Department of Transportation to perform maintenance and or repair on state highways inside the village corporation and declaring it an emergency.
Ordinance 11-21 is so ordained. On to the next item, motion order for first reading of ordinance 12-21, an ordinance approving an easement and right-of-way with American Electric Power for the new Dollar General store and declaring an emergency. This would be a motion for first reading.
I'll make that.
I'll make
motion.
that. I'll second.
Got a first and second. Discussion. Phil, is this just a formality? They need a right-of-way for the power?
Yeah, I'll let JT kind of go into a little bit more detail if you need it.
Okay, JT?
Yeah, the AEP, they need their own separate right of way for the infrastructure they need. It's going to be a 10-foot section in the previous right of way that we gave to Dollar General across our property there.
Okay. So we have a first and second on a motion. Roll call.
Boldazar,
Yay.
Kishman,
Yay.
Tarbit,
Yay.
Hannon,
Yeah.
Meadows.
Yay.
Clark?
Ordinance number 12-21, an ordinance approving an easement and right-of-way with American Electric Power for the new Dollar General store and declaring it an emergency. Whereas Council of the Village of Minerva deems it necessary to grant an easement and right-of-way to American Electric Power to provide electric service to the new Dollar General store. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the Village of Minerva, Stark, Carroll, and Columbia Counties, Ohio, that one, the easement and right-of-way between the Village of Minerva and Ohio Power Company, an Ohio corporation and unit of American Electric Power, is hereby approved as set forth in Exhibit A attached. 2, Philip Tursky, Village Administrator, is authorized to execute the easement and right-of-way on behalf of the village. 3, the Clerk of Council is directed to cause the easement and right-of-way to be recorded with the Carroll County Recorder's Office when executed by American Electric Power. 4, this ordinance is declared an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the Village of Minerva, Ohio, to expedite approval of the utility easement to permit provision of electric service for completion of the development project and opening of the new Dollar General store to preserve the tax base of the village, and shall become effective at the earliest date allowed by law.
Thank you, Clark. Motion is in order to approve first reading.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Got a motion and second. Roll call.
Boldazar,
Yay.
Kishman,
Yay.
Tarbit,
Yay.
Hannon,
Yeah.
Meadows.
Yay.
Reading of 12-21 so approved. Due to this need to be done in a timely manner, it's being declared an emergency. So motion is in order to suspend the statutory rules and have second and third reading by title only and for passage.
I'll make the motion.
A second.
Motion and second, roll call.
Oldesar,
Yay.
Kishman,
Yay.
Tarbit,
Yay.
Hannon,
Yay.
Meadows.
Yay.
Clark,
Ordinance number 12-21, an ordinance approving an easement and right-of-way with American Electric Power for the new Dollar General store and declaring it an emergency.
ordinance 12-21 is so ordained. On to our next point of business, motion is in order to authorize the expenditure of additional legal fees to attorney Robert J. Scholl LLC in amount not to exceed $4,145 for the Minerva Dairy litigation.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion, anything, Phil?
This will just close out the last legal fees that we will have concerning the litigation.
Okay, roll call.
Tarbit,
Yay.
Meadows,
Yay.
Oldesar,
Yay.
Kishman,
Yay.
Hannon.
Yay.
Motion so approved. Motion is in order to authorize the village administrator, Philip Tursky, to contract with Kimball Recycling and Disposal, Inc. for bulk pickup in the village in an amount not to exceed $15,000.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion second. Discussion. Phil, anything you want to talk about with it?
Just our yearly bulk pickup. Last year we had to alter the date because of COVID and their scheduling. This year we're trying to get on the schedule early so we can secure it for the weekend after the village-wide garage sales. So the sooner the better.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Tarbit,
Yay.
Meadows,
Yay.
Oldesar,
Yay.
Kishman,
Yay.
Hannon.
Yay.
Motion so approved. Well, that ends our state of business. Is there anything else anybody has to bring up before council? No, nothing else this time? All right, Mason, do you have anything specific? Anything you want to say?
Other than, again, kind of showing some appreciation to our street and park department for all their hard work and JT. I went down there and looked, that's a big old project they were kind of thrown into, and they handled it like champs. So we appreciate you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, Nate?
Just concurring with Mason there and Phil. I mean, our guys did a kick butt job on both of those water main breaks. I stopped down on the one on Grant. And just the amount of work that they had to do was outrageous. So super appreciative of all our guys out plowing. Yeah, like Tim, you had said, a lot of praise for our guys, how clean our roads were compared to outside of the city limits. So thank you.
Elliot?
Just echo what they said. Only thing I would have for residents are, if you're able to, when we get snows like that, even in areas where there aren't snow parking banning certain hours, if you're able to put your car inside, it really makes it easier on the guys plowing if your car is not parked on the street, and it ends up getting a better job and they're able to salt better. So just keep that in mind if you're able to.
Anything else, Elliot? Okay, Matt?
Nothing tonight other than just to repeat what those guys said on the working on the water lines and clearing the roads. Thanks to all the workers.
Okay. Just a couple things on my end. Again, I'll jump on this wagon too with the rest of council and Bill and JT. That was some great work through all this. You know, we've probably had one of those years where we had the snow, then we had the ice, then we had the snow again, then we had the ice. And it hit at times at night, it hit at times early in the morning, and they were out there. They were out there, and they got moving, and they got it taken care of. So we're pretty blessed with that whole thing, the way that happened. The two water main breaks, those were two pretty good sized lines, an 8-inch and a 10-inch. That's a big line for us here in town. I was also down at the one at Grant. That's the day it was frigid, right, Nate?
Oh, it was horrible.
It was
Yeah.
frigid, and stood down there a while with those guys, and they, you know, it's bad enough you're out in the cold and the wind and the wind chill's low, but now you got all this water and mud everywhere, and it's just, the working conditions are not the best. And I believe that ended up being a pretty good sized piece of pipe that they had to replace down there on that one. So that was a rough time, but they get it done for us. So we thank them for sure. One other announcement on beginning on March the 9th, that is the next scheduled council meeting. Council will go back to live meetings. We will still be broadcasting the meetings on YouTube and on the Spectrum channel. The guy is coming, I believe, this week or next,
my bro so dirty with
to fix the machine, right? For the audio
That is
on
correct.
the live stream. So we're hoping we have that better handled, so everybody can hear. But we will be starting back live council meetings starting on March the 9th. And we'll be putting something out about how you can send questions ahead of time if you have something you want to have brought up at council. And we'll see how the other part goes, if we're going to be able to feed in and have people watch. So we'll see how that all works. So Denise, with you, it's up to you what you would want to do. If you would want to submit your report ahead of time, just make sure that gets to me or Nate or one of the council people. We'll make sure that's handled for you. Okay?
I'll probably be there.
Okay, that'd be up to you. Okay. And
Okay,
and if
thanks.
you'd like, you can bring the cat, because I see the cat's attending the meeting tonight, so you can looking over your shoulder. So the cat, if it has questions, it can come to the meeting too. So you can bring the cat with you too. All right. Any other things?
Probably does.
I know what that feels like. Any other things tonight? Anybody? Anything? All right.
Nope, not tonight.
Motion is in order to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion is in order to adjourn, first and second, and roll call.
Meadows,
Yay.
Tarbit,
Yay.
Hannon,
Yay.
Kishman,
Yay.
Boldazar.
Yay.
Meeting's adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you guys.
See ya.
See ya.